Chloe Dobbs has joined us. Chloe, of course, is all about talking politics and the big stories of the day. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good as gold at this end. I mean, this one... I mean, where do you begin with this?
I know. I mean, when I saw this story yesterday, I mean, my jaw just dropped. I was so angry. I just thought, how dare they? I hoped that when I read into the detail after I saw the headline pop up on my phone, that maybe the headline was just exaggerated. They can't possibly, they can't possibly really ditch their commitments to looking into the grooming gangs. But no, I think this is really, really disappointing what they have done. What this means now is that local councils, like Bradford, for example, who don't want to be investigated because they know that there are people on those councils that will end up having to walk the plank. They don't want to embarrass themselves. They no longer have to be investigated, and I don't think that Jess Phillips really gets it, because when you had Robbie Moore MP, he stood up as well. I know the video of Katie Lamb has gone viral, but what I think was equally important was Robbie Moore stood up and he explained he's got people in his constituency, victims and campaigners, who are absolutely begging for the council there in Bradford to be investigated, but the council doesn't want to be investigated. And Jess Phillips, she stood up in response and said, "Oh, don't worry, the £5 million pot, it will be available if Bradford Council want to do an inquiry." And I'm thinking, did you not listen to a word the guy just said? He just said Bradford do not want to investigate themselves, so nothing will happen there unless the government forces it upon them. It's just shocking what they've done. And I think, you know, we were angry enough that we didn't get a proper national full inquiry out of the Labour government when there was a big push for it back in January. At least we got something, and we thought, OK, we've got this money for at least 5 decent-sized local inquiries, but they're not even going to bother with that anymore. And it seems extraordinary. I touched on it, Chloe, just a second ago, that I can't think of any other single group of people that would be ignored in such a spectacular way. If this was, certainly if this was about race, I'm 100, and I wouldn't normally go there on this one, but I genuinely believe that if this was a racism, institutional racism issue, then all the stops would be pulled out. There would be the most thorough, the most outrage. You'd have all of those Labour MPs on the back benches standing up. Jess Phillips would be discombobulating. Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper would be melting into their own left-wing shoes at the idea, we're going to get to the bottom of this. We cannot live in this kind of society. He talks more about Islamophobia than he talks about the abuse of young white girls. I mean, it's extraordinary. And they're not even hiding it now. I mean, there have been, I've been listening in a bit, and there have been a lot of callers calling in to this station today saying the same thing, which is, what if you flipped it around and it was white men abusing Pakistani young girls? There would be absolute outrage from MPs and from the Labour government, and this would be a huge thing. They'd be pouring money into it, right? But if it's white girls being abused, they're just not interested. I think that the left, they're kind of in denial. They don't think it's possible for people to be racist towards white people. I think, but I think these very much are. They are racist attacks. What happened to these young girls?
Yeah, I think actually
Labour just don't want to hear it.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? I think central. You know, people are trying to explore what are the specific reasons. You know, is it about something to do with religion? Did religion become the motivating factors? Did they believe they had a green light from their God or something? I actually think racism is the most accurate description in terms of motivation. These men saw Western working class white girls as trash. That is the dictionary definition of racism. They were better than them, therefore to abuse them meant nothing at all. You weren't crossing any lines because these were worthless girls anyway.
Yeah, and I think one thing that definitely needs to be investigated further is, was this more about religion or was this more about their Pakistani heritage? Because it is interesting, you know, a lot of people point out the fact that these abusers Muslims were very much overrepresented in the data. But why is it that they are specifically Pakistani Muslims? Why specifically that country? And apparently, you know, there's a specific region of Pakistan that they're predominantly from. I think we need to talk about that more, and we need to be able to talk about it. I think that the Labour Party, they're scared to talk about it. They want to potentially introduce Islamophobia laws. You've got, you know, Jess Phillips. I think that she and other Labour MPs, they're more interested in saving their own jobs than they are doing what is morally right. Don't forget that Jess Phillips was nearly unseated by one of these independent pro-Gaza MPs. I think that she is worried.
And she got a right pasting, didn't she, on the campaign trail? Remember, there were some pretty ugly scenes, which even she wouldn't acknowledge what the problem was there.
Yeah, and then you saw Wes Streeting, who also, if you look at his general election result, it was on a knife edge with one of these independents. After we started talking about the grooming gangs again in January, he then came out and said that, oh, we need to be more careful with the language that we use when we talk about the grooming gangs, trying to water it down, not trying to upset certain communities. He recently went to an event, I think it was called something like the Muslim Network or something like this, and gave a speech saying he doesn't think that Labour have done enough to support the Muslim community, and I just see them pandering more and more and more. 80 out of 89 of the seats where the Muslim population is more than double that of the national average are held by the Labour Party. I think that electorally they are very concerned about what would happen to them if they were to expose the fact that it is, you know, predominantly Muslim men committing these crimes, and for them to be the ones who initiate a proper inquiry into that. And I think they're also worried about the Labour Party's reputation if they see Labour councillor after Labour councillor named and shamed for covering up this mess.
100%, 100%. Speaking of strange things that go on in local authorities, the Lib Dems have been at it as well, for a very different reason. Lib Dem Council rejecting plans for a military parade on VE Day, citing concerns over elitism. This is a borough council called Dacorum Borough Council. I wasn't aware of Dacorum. I mean, it's ironic that they're called. There is little decorum, it seems, in Dacorum Borough Council. Caroline Smith-Wright of Dacorum Council encouraged community-led street parties, emphasising inclusivity over formal events like military parades. Elitism apparently is one of the... I mean, really, who are these people? They walk amongst us, these half-wits.
I mean, I really don't know what was going through their heads. I don't know if they are just using this word elite as an excuse not to have to splash any of their tight pot of cash on a proper event for, you know, these veterans that sacrificed, you know, their time and their hard work, and, you know, many very sadly died to defend this country. And also bear in mind the 75th anniversary, that was during COVID, and there wasn't really much celebration that could be done. So I think this 80th anniversary, we do need to make a big thing about it. And this council, they've said that having some sort of big splashy event would come across as elite, and to just have street parties instead would be more inclusive. You know, that word inclusivity comes out all the time. I can understand them using the word elite if it costs, you know, £1,000 to buy a ticket to go to the VE Day celebration, but I don't think it is something that would you'd be charged for entry.
But doesn't that show you, Chloe, where their kind of thinking is, the way their mind works? Oh no, it's some soldiers, a bit patriotic, it's got, you know, it might have some flags. That's elitist. No, you're an idiot. It's not elitist at all. Yeah,
they'll be all right if they fly a Palestinian flag instead, but bring out a British flag and oh no, way too elite.
We are living in an upside down world.